So welcome to the Nomadic Network, another virtual event. For any of you who are new here, TNN is a global community of travel enthusiasts who support and inspire one another to travel better, cheaper, and longer. We started at the end of 2019, and the idea was to host in-person meetups in cities around the world to bring travelers together. So, we all know what happened in 2020. So in-person events were no longer a thing. So now there are virtual events, but in-person events are back up for the next little bit. I'm not sure. I'm assuming most of you are probably on the Nomadic Network mailing list, and tours are where we are going from here. So this was founded by Nomadic Matt, who has been a travel blogger forever. At this point, hosted over 250 virtual events, and now we're back to hosting in-person events. If you have not checked out the new website, thenomadicnetwork.com, it's great. It's kind of like social media for travelers, but lots of great places to share, connect, get resources, all of that sort of thing. So if you are not already on the website, go check it out. Here's just some lovely photos from all of the different meetups. And I love seeing travelers get together and getting to share their passion and excitement. So we are wrapping up these virtual events and in-person events and really going all in on the small group tours that are really amazing. We'll talk more about that in just a little bit. So to connect online, Instagram, Nomadic Network, TikTok, and then there are still virtual and in-person events coming up. And then the big thing is travel on some of these group tours. It's a great opportunity to travel with your fellow, nomadic or travel enthusiasts. So, you get that community and get to see some really cool places. So reminders, few housekeeping things. We'd love to see your faces. So if you are comfortable leaving your video on, that is amazing. We're going to stay muted and use the chat for questions. So I'm going to be keeping track of the questions as we go through the presentation. If you have a question, you don't have to save it to the end. Drop it in the chat. I will keep track of them, and then we'll go through them. It's helpful for me if you type question at the beginning, so that way I don't miss it. And then, of course, we would love for you to follow our speakers, support them. They are here out of the kindness of their hearts. They are volunteering their time, their energy, their knowledge. So give them some love, connect, and follow them online. And first and most importantly, let's have fun and enjoy the time together. So I'm going to drop the information for connecting in the chat, and then I'm going to stop sharing this screen and turn it over to our presenter. Stop share. Okay, let me get my life together here, and I'm going to drop, here is all of her information in the chat, so places to connect, and I am going to turn it over. Once I can, I'm going to unpin myself. And all right, you are up. I am terrible and did not ask how I pronounce your name.
Talking to me, Kach.
Yes. Kach. Okay, that was my guess, but then I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even ask. Okay, you're up.
Hi guys, good evening from here, and I don't know where you are, like good morning, good afternoon. My name is Kach. I'm originally from the Philippines, and I've been travel blogging since 2014, traveled to 184 countries, but since 2019, called Montenegro my home. I have a house there, business, and my cat and my dog is from there. But I'm currently back in the Philippines after 15 years living abroad. And yeah, thank you so much for welcoming me into your community, Annie. Like, I know Matt and Erica, and yeah, I think I am one of the Balkan experts by having living in Montenegro for 4 years. Even though I don't speak the language fluently, I've traveled extensively in the region. And I know like Balkans are mostly European countries, Eastern European countries. Like we'll talk about Serbia, North Macedonia, Albania, Kosovo, Bulgaria, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Croatia, Romania, Greece, Montenegro, Slovenia, Turkey, and Hungary. But in this case, I just want to like really talk more about the former Yugoslavian, like mostly Serbia, North Macedonia, Albania, Kosovo, Bosnia, and Montenegro, because it's a little bit different if we talk about Slovenia and Croatia. It's a different kind of rules in the Schengen zone and Europe. And before I continue, I hope you don't mind if I share a video that I filmed together with one Canadian videographer during the tour that I hosted like last year in the Balkans. So technically a year ago, like almost more than a year ago, I hosted like a 6-country tour for like 2 weeks in the Balkans. I know it's not for people like, oh, who's rushing, but for people with with very limited time, we actually had a great time. So this is like a quick video about it. So if you've never been, and that's it. I don't know. Did you guys hear the music? I am not sure if you heard the music or
No music.
no music. I'm so sorry about that. But did you see the video clearly? So I just want to ask you, like, I want to interact, like, who among you have been to the 6 countries in the Balkans? And I just want to ask, like, what's your impression, like, compared to the other region? Before I continue with with the presentation. So I've shown like 6 countries, like they're similar. It's what they say, like same but different. And which ones are your favorite? Like just give me some impression before like I share to you like some tips about like this destination. Albania, definitely Albania is your favorite. Someone asked me about, yeah, okay, why did you choose Montenegro to live in? I will talk about that later on. Definitely Albania, one of the most underrated. Dubrovnik, definitely Croatia. Albania, I agree with everyone, but yes, definitely. So guys, like after traveling to like 160 countries by the time, I've decided together with my expert to live in Montenegro because of the cost of living is actually cheaper than other European countries and the United States or in the Caribbean. And the best thing about living in Montenegro is that it's a very small country where you could go hiking and skiing and then later on going, like sailing. So now I actually prepared a very small slide, a short slide that I hope you'd appreciate. Like just, so this is it. So like there are like 10 things, like I wrote here, like there are like 20 things that you should know before traveling to the Balkans based on my experience living in Montenegro for 4 years and traveling extensively in the region. And just to be honest, like I don't have a Montenegrin or a Balkan husband, but they are really cool. Like I just really love the country. I love the food, and we call it. How can I share this? Yeah, I love the country. I love the food. I love like the nature. It's just incredible, which I think most of you would agree. So most common questions are like asked, like, what are the Balkan countries? Yes, definitely in the Eastern European. But the question is like, is it safe to travel to the Balkans? Definitely, it is safe. Like the best thing about living in the Balkans though is like what do you call it? Like it's very small, like concentration. Like maybe I'm just referring to like, Bosnia, Albania, like what do you call it? It's a small kind of like tradition that everyone knows everyone. So like if you live in one city, like whatever happens to you, I think the entire neighborhood would know. But of course, there are like big things that is going on, like negativity and stuff. But most of the time, tourists are not being what do you call it, like attacked or like affected, because tourism is a big thing for the region. And how expensive is it to travel there? Like compared to traveling to Western Europe, like it is way cheaper in the Balkans. You could have a meal for €2, and you could take like a bus for €1 to €2. You could buy cigarette for like €2, so something like that. Like technically, if you have a budget of like €30, you could have like an accommodation and like and food. But it still depends on the city. But if we will just do the average of the price of the Balkans, and it is that is. Can you DIY the Balkans? If you've like really like traveled extensively in Western Europe, like you get used to the like the train rides or the planes or everything, then it's actually like flying in the Balkans and taking the train is not very common, because the most common mode of traveling within the region is by taking long overnight buses, or what do you call it? You're gonna take the bus, you could hitchhike, but the best is if you rent the car and like do like drive around. And you could DIY, but you have to understand that most of the countries in Eastern Europe are not part of EU or Schengen. So every time you cross a border, unlike crossing from Spain to France, you have to deal with the immigration, exiting from one country to another. And of course, there's few bureaucracy that you have to deal with. Maybe there could be like, like the, corruption or like tipping or red tape. It could happen, but like I just don't know how to explain, but it could, but it's not as regulated as traveling to Western countries. So before traveling around the Balkans, like I have few tips, like a little bit insider tips that I think you've read it online, but like you just want to verify from someone who lived there. I have residency there. I have a house there. My dog is actually from Nikšić, Montenegro. My cats are from Herceg-Novi, Montenegro. It just happened that I don't speak Montenegrin or Serbian. Okay, so top tips. Like like whenever you travel to a new country, like they will like ask you, like not ask, but if you meet locals or what, like I want to experience the culture, you're gonna be like asking about the food, or what do you call it? What do you call it? You're gonna ask about the food or the drinks, but the most common drink there is the rakia. Rakia is like this liquor that is very strong. But the main tip here, guys, it's not tequila. Okay, when someone gives you a rakia shot, don't shut it, because they're gonna pour you in more, and you're gonna be drunk and drunk and drunk. The way you drink rakia is you sip it. Most of the time, the locals, you'll see them in the morning in the cafe ordering rakia with coffee. And they stay there for 4 hours, 5 hours, and just drinking it sip by sip. But if you're a foreigner, like someone welcomes you in their home, they'll give it to you. And of course, if I would assume that most of you are from Northern America, that like, the one common courtesy is like, let's finish it. It's a shot drink because it's in a shot glass. But rakia is not something that you could mess with. Like, take it slowly and easily. There's no rush. And they say it Polako, like, tranquilo, like just calm down and just enjoy talking, and just a welcome thing. Okay. And next, if you agree and you've been there and you had an experience with rakia, feel free to share in chat. I would love to read it, and like, we could like go over it later on. And next is, I highly suggest that you rent a car and drive. If not, you need to use the bus, or train travel is a little bit limited. You could take train, like for example, from Montenegro to Serbia, some destination in Serbia, or like, but the main best way of traveling in the Balkans is by bus or renting a car. Now, when you rent a car in the Balkans, you can drive. Like if you rent it from Croatia, you can drive it all over. But the only thing is they will require you to have like the blue card or like the blue certificate. That means that you are allowed to have an insurance. It's like an insurance way. But if you rent a car, they will give it to you, but usually they will charge you extra 20 euro per day, or you could negotiate, and not blue card, it's called green card, actually, green card. They will the rental car company would charge you with that. If you don't have the green card, the border police would not allow you to cross the border. So aside from the car rental and your driver's license, everything, this green card, it's not even a card, it's just a paper of insurance that the agency is allowing you to go outside the region. If not, you can go to Bus Croatia, bus ticket for me. Actually, bus ticket for me is the most common thing in the Balkans. You could find there like 5 euro, 10 euro, and you'll be like, are you serious? You're traveling from one country to another for 5 euro? It is real. It is really. And like the bus stations are really good, like it's really interconnected, Yugoslavian way, like even they're like old school, old style, you will see it there, like it's so organized. Eurolines, Polazak, Ketel, Macedonia, and everything. And now, next tip, you can buy a SIM card anywhere in the Balkans. But actually, if you're coming from Croatia, it's a little bit different because you need to consider as well. What I'm talking about Balkans are the countries that are non-EU and non-Schengen, because the EU and Schengen has different rules. But in the non-EU, non-Schengen countries like Montenegro, Albania, Bosnia Herzegovina, Macedonia, Kosovo, and Serbia. If you buy a SIM card, 2 years ago, they have like this thing agreement that the SIM card would be allowed to be used in the entire region. So if you buy a SIM card in Montenegro for 15 euro and it has unlimited internet, no unlimited calls, but like unlimited, like, or 500 gigabyte of internet from MTEL, Telenor, or anything, you can use this 15 euros SIM card to like have your internet roaming for free in the entire region. Okay, so like that's a secret. And you could buy this. They usually have like a SIM card for like expats or people living there, but there's also a SIM card that is used for tourists. So like tourist MTEL SIM card, you just have to submit your passport and they will give it to you, and it's gonna be activated 30 days, 500 gigabyte, 15 euro. Next, there's this saying called spasm. I actually put it as a tattoo in my arm. Like I'm Asian, but I traveled extensively and live in the States. And like we want things to be done. Like if you want to do it correctly and like let's do it. Things are like that. But in Montenegro or like in the Balkans, they have this saying, spasm. It means patience saved. It means you need to have a lot of patience. Because when someone says that, like, okay, we're gonna get it done, like, okay, when are we going to go on a tour? Like they will say Polako Polako or like Strepian Spasin. Like, like you will hear this saying in like old like old people. Like the younger people will be like, oh, okay. But like you need to have a lot of patience. As I've said, it's gorgeous country. But people take a lot of time. Like you would notice that at around 4 o'clock, and if it's summer season, you are going to be like, they're already wearing their swimsuit and like, we're not gonna do the job today. We're gonna do it tomorrow. Like it's feeling like the Chico vibes of being in Costa Rica. Pura vida, like that kind of like saying. So like you need to have a lot of patience when you go there. Wait, I wanna check if there are like messages. I'm gonna read it later.
I'm keeping track of all the questions. So
Okay, we're gonna do that
at the
later then.
end.
Okay, we're gonna have time for that then. All right, and then as I've mentioned, like most of the countries that I'm talking about are not EU and Schengen. So these different countries have different currency. Albanian lek, and like Bosnia and stuff. But most of these countries are like accepting euro. So Montenegro actually is using euro now. They don't have their own currency. Serbia has their own, and you have to what do you call it, to exchange it most of the time. But the best thing is that they accept euro everywhere. If you go to Kosovo, they'll accept your dollars. They will accept your dollars actually everywhere, but the exchange rate is not the best. So the best thing is if you start your journey in Croatia or in Montenegro, get as much euro from the ATM, and from there like convert it and just and use that money, and they pay that as well, but as much as possible, and not bring coins, but like leave a like €5 like €5, €10, and like €15 with you. And next, I've like mentioned here that you can learn basic Serbian. Zdravo, kako se, dobro, like those kind of things that you could learn on Duolingo. Like I just said Serbian because like Albanian is totally different with when it comes to the language. But if you go to Bosnia, Kosovo, North Macedonia, Montenegro, they're all started from Serbian, but with different like accent, different words, dialect, but they understand each other. Also in Croatia, but of course Bulgaria, Greece, Albania is not the same. But if you could just learn basic, just to ask direction, just to say the words, like just say hello or what or whatsoever, that would get you by. I just want to say as well, like people think that like Balkan people like might be rude, like because like like I cannot understand, like no, or like not talk to you. It's not because they are rude, but most of them don't speak English. Like the younger generation, they do, but like older people or what, you think like they're friendly, they will say hello until you start talking or approaching them. They are not rude, they just couldn't speak English. And if you speak a little bit language, then maybe they will try using the Google Translate. That's why I highly suggest that if you go there, download the apps. Like Google Map works, but maps.me is what works very well there. And then download Google Translate, and then you could just download like the Serbian language, and you will be good. Like you will be totally good everywhere. Or you could download Google Maps and then download the region. And also in Balkans, like Facebook groups are very, very like a big deal there. Like like the local, like the expat community, the travelers, the backpackers, and everything. You will find everything that you need from there, like tips or what. Unlike traveling in Africa, that they have like this overlander that tracks where you should go, like which cartoon, like which hotel, which everything. They don't have it there. But like if you need a resource aside from travel blogs, like ours or like the others, Facebook groups are the best, like resource group there. It's usually active because a lot of expats are moving there. Actually, it became like a big destination for digital nomads from other European countries because of the cost of living. The internet is fast, and so stuff like that. And okay. So be prepared for cigarette. I know that there's rules like in the States that, oh, you can only smoke in this area or there. Like also in the Balkans, they already have rules. But what you have to understand that a lot of people smokes. And if there's like no rules, or even like there's rules, it's still the Balkans, like you would smell cigarettes even from afar, because people smoke cigarette even when they're still in their bed. So just be prepared for that. Like I just want to warn people, like if you're allergic to that, of course bring your mask, but like be prepared for the cigarette. Like okay, now where to stay in the Balkans? Now Airbnb, booking.com, things like that are so common. A lot of chain hotels, hostels are popping up. But also you could check ethnocelos. Ethnocelos are like small villages where like you would stay in like their little cabins, eat local food, and like do like play with the animals, or like live in the mountains, especially if a lot of people go to the Balkan region because of the mountains. And with ethnocelo, you might not find them on booking.com, or you might not find them on these things, because some of these ethnocelos don't know marketing. They're just like old people living in the village. So the best is like if you're driving, go there, you will find ethnocelo, and you're welcome there. And sometimes the best, what you will still see this in the Balkans, which is crazy funny, is that when you go to the gas station, like the bus station, you will still see people holding placards and telling you like konoba, like not kind of a restaurant, oh my god, I forgot the word, but like room for rent, like soba, like sobe, like they will like go to you, and like they still do the old school way of like, do you need a room, do you need a room? So it's still very common for people there to just go there and walk in, and like not even pre-booking, because you will find people like renting out their rooms in the old fashioned way. So like don't worry about like, like the technology is still like a little bit like behind, but they are adapting and adjusting. You will still find them online. And next, I know a lot of people are like, oh, I want to confirm that they're gonna pick me up. They are not responding to my email because especially if you're not gonna be staying in like major cities, not a lot of people are using like not using their laptop or like the internet and everything. And the biggest difference living in North America and that side and in the Balkans is that they use Viber and not WhatsApp. They are big on Viber there. Like if you want to ask anything from like your tour company or anything, don't even like if they have WhatsApp, it means they work with many expats or like foreigners from like from North America. But if not, they're used to Russian or like Asian or like Eastern European guests or the local region guests, then expect that it's Viber. Especially if you're trying to save money on like where to stay, it's cheaper tours, cheaper everything, then only if you want to do follow-up, coordinate or anything, Viber. And the best thing about Viber is that even though they type in Serbian, you could click it, you will like Viber has like automatic translation that WhatsApp doesn't have. Okay, next, this is the thing. Of course, I don't know, I don't talk about political stuff and everything, but one way the technique that a lot of people makes mistake is, of course, Serbia and Kosovo situation. I don't recommend that you enter Kosovo from Serbia. The best way that you enter Kosovo is via Albania and North Macedonia. And if you decide to exit Kosovo as well, it's better to exit from to go to Albania and Macedonia. And you will be amazed because Kosovo has amazing road, like amazing highway, like perfect road, like that would guide you to North Macedonia and Albania. So it will avoid any problems or any difficulties that could occur. I've heard situations, but maybe not all the time. It should change that when they exit and enter, they have issues, especially depending on your passport. And then next, I highly recommend that you do volunteering. There's a lot of cartoons and ethnocellos that would like really like enjoy your company. Like if you have home away, work exchange, help X, and like so many things, couch surfing and everything is actually active community in the Balkans. So if you want to save money, stay longer and everything, then you should consider volunteering. They are like happy about that. And unlike in Africa or South America, they don't charge you to pay to volunteer. You could contribute with your food, but they would be happy to provide you with accommodation and bed and not so fancy in exchange for like working in their farm, working in like mostly like permacultural or like in farming and everything. Next is be aware of the visa rules. So I know actually it's not be aware, like be grateful for having these visa rules, because if you're in the Schengen zone, you can only stay 90 days out of 180. But if you go to the Balkans region, like let's say you have American passport, you could stay in Montenegro for 90 days. You could stay in Albania for 90 days. You could stay in Bosnia for 90 days, and you could stay, like Serbia. So instead of like just staying like 90 days in entire visiting the Schengen region, like visiting like how many countries in the Balkans, you could literally live there for the next 2-3 years without worrying where to go. So a lot of people are still doing visa rounds, like, oh, I love Montenegro, we'll stay there like 90 days and then go to the other place and stay there again. Like you could do that. So technically it's what other people do as like a visa round thing. And next is I highly, highly suggest that you travel during off season, because the cost of like staying in the Balkan region during high season is crazy. If during off season, I could rent an apartment for like 450 euro per month, during high season, they rent the apartment for like 100 euro per day. So maybe there may not be a lot of Americans or Canadians that you've heard who's traveled there, but the region has a lot lot of tourists from the Baltic and the Balkan countries, the Russians, the Ukrainians, and that kind of thing. And like during summer season, this is what you need to know. Not tourism is not really for the Western tourists, but the tourism is actually designed for their people, because this is the time that is the hottest, this is the school holidays, and this is the time, even like like let's say you live in Podgorica, it's a very hot like weather during that time. No one wants to work. Like most people work there seasonal. So people from Podgorica quit their jobs and they're gonna go to the coast to work on the high season, or like a lot of people there do this. They work during the high season, and during off season they go somewhere else. If you know what I mean. So like the costs are cheaper, and during the high season, a lot of people are there to work. A lot of people are there for vacation, especially people who don't have the ocean. So a lot of Serbians, Bosnians, Macedonians, they go to the coast, Montenegro, Croatia, Greece, Albania, and that season. So like during high season, what I highly suggest that you really, really want to go to the mountains. This is the best time that you go to the mountains. But during the off season, that's the best time you go to the coastal countries. Like coastal destination. And next, enjoy the hospitality and the food. Like you'll be like, oh God, like I love the Balkans, the women, the men, everyone's just good looking. Like it's just like so pleasant in the eyes. Like, wow, these people are gorgeous. They're like tallest like people in the world are in Montenegro, like beautiful women in Serbia, like like really good looking people in Albania. It's like really and they are very hospitable, they're really friendly. But sometimes if you like notice in the hospitality industry, like they could be rude, like people serving the restaurant, this is what they mostly hear in the complaint. Oh, you said that they're hospitable, but they're not. Like they serve me this food. But what I want you guys to be aware is that the salary in this region is very, very low. Like the minimum wage, or actually like the wage, normal wage for people working in the hospitality is like 450 euro. And if you deduct the taxes, like 300 euro a month. And since this country is not a tipping culture country, the service is just like that. I serve you, we don't expect tips, and it's what they earn, 450. So why would they put effort, unlike in the other region? So they're not really, really rude, and unless you're like just in the restaurants, in the hotels, because this is what they get paid for. It's not much. And of course you could tell them like, well, they should better it off, but you just have to understand, like, how could you live with that? But if you get out there and decide to live in the region and just like live there, you would see the difference. Like these people like would feed you a lot of like meat, like cebapi, such priganitsa, kaymak, kachamak, and the food. So this is the thing. If you're a meat lover, you would love the region, definitely 100%. But the only thing, if you're vegan, like very, very strict vegan, you'd struggle a bit, but you will still find like fresh vegetables, fruits, definitely. But in restaurants, it's impossible. Like the coast, you will have amazing fish, or like, like same spinach dishes and potato and stuff like that. But if you can cook, and like if you're vegan, I highly suggest don't stay in a hotel, rent an Airbnb where you can cook your own food. Because even the salad shopska has a lot of like cheese. So like like it's not the vegan world. But if you're a meat lover, this is the place where you can have like proper T-bone steak for 30 euro. Like the steak that you would pay 300 euro in the States, you could have it for 100 euro, like proper prime ribs and stuff like that. And yeah, and aside from that, they also have like a lot of imported food, which is amazing. Like people import food like that. But of course, it would cost you more, but you'll not struggle finding the food and things that you need, like that you thought you'll not find. There's no Amazon, there's no such things like that. There's like what do you call this? They have Alibaba and those kind of things, and like local like shopping and stuff. But anything you need in the West, you will find it there. So it's not a difficult thing. But the only thing is like if you're vegan, don't stay in hotels, book your Airbnb. That's the tip. But eating out in the Balkans is like you just have to have like 10 to 15 euro and you'll have 3 good meals for the day. And that's why you will be surprised why, like, let's say there's no McDonald's in Montenegro. Few months ago, they just opened the first ever Burger King in the country, because the food in Burger King would cost €7 for the burger and fries, for a small thing, because of like the branding, where you could have like a proper burger with French fries for €4. So like, you will understand, like, and the thing is, like, even the food in the Balkans seems unhealthy. It's very, very rare to see really fat people. Like, like they eat a lot, but not, maybe like the younger generation who doesn't exercise, because the physique, like, it's so important for them to look good in that region. So like, what can I say is, like, even though the food is like that, so you mix it with rakia, so it will burn like the food that you've been eating. So be careful with the rakia, sip it, don't shut it. And like, for the food, enjoy all of the steaks in the world in there. And yeah, I think that's it. Now I could entertain questions and stop the share.
Okay, we have quite a few questions, and you covered one of them in talking about the vegan. That was my experience too, is that like, oh man, vegan food is not really a thing that's available. Okay. First question, why did you choose to live in Montenegro?
Like during the time, to be honest, I was like, I was living on a sailboat in the Caribbean for 2 years, but like, because of these hurricanes and stuff, and things like, but I wanted to go continue sailing, and we still wanted to go hiking, and then also still want to go traveling and easy. So we decided to live in Herzegovina, because you could still own a sailboat, live in the mountain, and fly with the airport in Dubrovnik, and fly from the airport in Tivat. So it makes sense. And I could live with a lifestyle of €1,000 a month if you own the property, and still live nicely. Like, lately it changed. Like, I was there 2019, but because of the political situation of Russia and Ukraine, all of the rich people from there moved there, because they can have a boat and they can have a villa for things. So like, a little bit like, it went up, but it's not the same as living in the Caribbean.
Okay, that makes sense. Yes, it's significantly cheaper. Next question, what type of visa did you get in order to stay in Montenegro so long legally?
So at the beginning, I went there, of course, on a tourist visa, because I have like a passport. And then if you buy a property in Montenegro, you will be entitled to have like a residence permit, and that is renewable every year. And then technically you're permanent. So like, this is the thing. If you're foreigner, like, if you're not like they call it stranger, if you're a stranger and you buy you can own a property that is 100% yours without like having like a local partner, or stuff like. So I had like my residency there as a property owner. And then also you can have like a residency there if you own a boat. So like, that's another thing. And you can have a residency there if you set up a company. But the last 3 years, I am actually the founder of the Montenegro Digital Nomad community, where I really pushed for people to have digital nomad visa. So now it's been implemented in the country, and a lot of people are benefiting from that. It's not just like a digital nomad thing. Like, a lot of people are moving to Portugal for the D7 retirement visa, right? And you can do that now in Montenegro. If you could show proof that you're making like at least like around like €2,000 per month with your like police clearance, FBI clearance is what you say, and stuff like that, then you can get like a residency in Montenegro. That, like, since most of you are Western passport, like, or you're American, you just go there, go to the MUP, to the police, or if you need contacts, I could connect you with my local friends there. You go, because you need translator. You go there, show them proof of your income, that you're making like 2,000 to €2,500, and you have savings, and you have an apartment lease and everything. Then they can grant you with the digital nomad visa. So technically, as long as you can show proof that you're making money outside Montenegro, now you can get it. That you can renew every year. Prior to the digital nomad visa that was implemented, you can only live there by owning property, owning a boat, or setting up a company that you would hire yourself. So this is where like people are doing now in Portugal. But I think now in Portugal, it's crazy because you need to get D7 visa approved, enter the country, convert it, blah, blah, blah. But because they wanted to get permanent residency and stuff. But Montenegro can only give you permanent residency after 5 years.
Okay, that's very helpful. Okay, next question. Does the older generation speak German or some other language?
A lot of them speaks Russian. It was like a requirement thing. And a lot speaks German. Like actually not older. People like our age speaks German, because especially people from Albania speaks Italian and German, because a lot of them are like just crossing the ferry to work in Italy or go to Germany to work. A lot of them are like really, really Serbian people to work in those countries. So like they're learning.
Okay. You had mentioned the opportunities for like volunteering in exchange for accommodation. Where can one find those kinds of free volunteering opportunities?
So you go a lot of, because when I had my house, like like I needed help to do gardening and stuff. And as I've said, a lot of like very good skilled workers in the Balkans are earning really low salaries. So they mostly go to Germany, Italy, France. They leave. The good ones leave. And the bad ones who just drink Sriracha most of the time are staying, and you don't want to hire them. So it's a big, big trend now, especially if you're an expat, you have your garden or everything, to use Workaway. So workaway.com, helpx.com. You could also use couch surfing. It's big deal there too. You can also use home exchange. It's not so big deal. And I don't know if you're part like trusted house sitters. There's a lot of people using that, especially like expats who has their cats and dogs and everything. But the best places to find volunteering, go to Facebook groups. So like if you say, Montenegro expat group, like I have a group called Montenegro Digital Nomad and Remote Workers. Even though you're not remote workers, you're retiree or what, you can join and ask. And then a lot of expat groups in different region, just type Serbia expat, Albania expat, or anything. You will find, like, then ask there, anyone needs volunteer? Unlike in Africa or in others, like they will charge you 1,000 euro to stay. No, they just really need help. Like as long as you know how to do those things. And a lot of these properties or like projects are owned by expats who couldn't find the local labor.
Perfect. I dropped a couple of those links in the chat so people can check those out. Next question. You had mentioned how much you paid for rent during the off season, and I think we missed it. So would you mind repeating that?
Yeah, like it depends, okay? Like if you live in the coast, you live in the countryside, but now you can still rent for 250 euro, 450 euro, 650 euro, and a lot of the properties are, fully furnished. But don't rent it per year. They will only allow you to rent it from October to April, and they will kick you out because by May, that apartment that you're renting for 250 or 450, they rent it out for per week. So it's different, okay? So unless you're gonna get like a really, really good deal or anything, like not in the season. So like the best bet is like living up, not in the coastal towns that they will they will no, like we will make more money on during the high season. So the best bet is, like if you live in Belgrade, you live in Sarajevo, you live in you live in Tirana, you live in Skopje, you live in the capital cities that there's really like the life is just like flat, it's equal, then that's the best bet that you could get like long-term lease. But my question is like, unless you're not planning to be an expat, like rent in the best places during off season and just time it out. 3 months in the best place to live in Tivat or Budva during the high season, then move to the next one and the next one, because you could live entire year just moving around the entire region and save the high season thing. So the golden rule is that if it's high season, go to the mountains.
Makes perfect sense. Okay, question about the best way to pay. Cash or are credit cards accepted in most places?
Yeah, to be honest, like I don't bring cash, I don't bring credit card, I bring my iPhone and I just tap it everywhere. That's what I do now. So if you have Wise, TransferWise, like Revolut, like if you're American, to be honest, like you have your like credit card and everything. The best way now is if you have your Apple Pay or Google Pay, connect your card, put it in your phone. Everything is tap. You could track everything that is going on, and it's so automated. But in other places, always go like credit card, okay, put PIN and stuff, but always have at least 50 euro in your pocket because you will survive for the next 2 days with that money. Because in case all of the electricity in the system won't work, you have 50 euro, like you will survive. Like you'll be fine, like imagine someone's salary is 450 a month and you have 50 euro for 2 days, like you'll be good. So, but I suggest is like Apple Pay now, or like, what do you call it? And if you don't have like international card, like if you're afraid, because to be honest, guys, there's still like scabs, ATM machine, like those kind of things. Best is if you could get like prepaid cards, like, like in your company, like your credit card company usually have like a prepaid card that is similar, but you can only use it in online transactions or stuff like that's the best way if you want to be safe.
Great. That's great to know. Next question. How much did you spend per month, like total, all in, just to live and pay your rent and eat and do all of the traveling you wanted to do? How much were you spending every month?
Okay, it's so different because I own my house, so I don't rent. So it's like a different story. And like I have like specific lifestyle, like I want to go to the gym, Pilates and stuff like that. But most of like expats, if you want to live really good, like good, like you eat out, drink, go party 2 times a week, 3 times. If you have 1,500 euro a month to 2,000 euro, you're a king.
Perfect.
Like little king. So
question, is there gluten-free awareness? Do you see much gluten-free?
That's a complicated part because, like, during the COVID situation, I'll tell you this funny story, maybe not funny. In the States, people are like, okay, everyone is rushing to get the toilet paper and like survive. You'll be surprised. During the time in the Balkan region, that what you call it, during the COVID thing, the thing that is empty in the grocery are the or what you call it, the things that makes their bread. So bread is very essential in the culture, and gluten-free is a little bit complicated. Like even if you tell them, okay, I want gluten-free, now there are like few chains that is so famous there. Paradise Food, like if you see Paradise Food, you will they're already starting all over, and there are like few, and I forgot the terminology, but there are already like stores that is specific. But if you go to a regular bakery and tell them I want gluten-free, they will be telling you, instead of like trying to explain with you, they will tell you get out, like get out of my bakery. They will not do it for someone like this, and you think they are rude, but like no, they're just specific like grocery stores where you could go, and not even grocery store, like specific, I forgot the word, but you just tell them like healthy organic, they will tell you Paradise Food, and there's one terminology where you could find your gluten-free ingredients and gluten-free bread, but not, you'll never find it in normal bakery or normal restaurants. So just avoid starch, just avoid it. just eat potato.
Okay, we only have a couple more minutes, so I'm going to try and get through these questions. Best way to get to the Balkans, best way to get to and from Western Europe.
Best flight, to be honest, Turkish Airlines, it's all connected. But you can also fly KLM, like and then United. I think United starts flying to Croatia. Like actually, if you want to go to the Balkans, best flights from America, fly to Croatia or fly to Kosovo. And then sometimes to Albania. Like if you're really, really, really on a budget, look for flights that has connection with Wizz Air, or like Ryanair is flying in the entire region anywhere. Like but like the budget airlines in Europe are like Wizz Air, Ryanair. If you find this, then you'll find everywhere in the Balkans. But cheap flights from the States a lot now because Croatia has very good promotions, like to get American thing, then fly to Croatia.
Okay. Do you have any recommendations for a good expat focused website for Montenegro or other Balkan countries?
And not really a lot of expat focus, like really expat Facebook groups
Okay.
is like the thing there.
Okay, two more questions.
Mhm.
How hard was it to buy a house or buy a boat in Montenegro as far as like government regulations, bureaucracy?
It's easy if you have cash. You and then make sure you do due diligence, okay? Because like a lot of properties maybe have like 10, 15 owners, so you need to read like if the house is legalized, and then stuff like that. But if you have questions about that, send me a message, because I actually like save so much money to these people, like they don't know, of course, like if you don't speak the language now, and I don't want you to had like the hardship that I had dealt with, like not really because we did like due diligence, but we didn't speak the language. And it's not hard. They even don't question or ask you where did you buy or like have the money. The best thing is when you buy a property, don't send it to the seller. Like do escrow with the notary all the time, always with the notary. Like it's not like like here in the Balkan countries, the notary is like their king, like before going to the judge, like the notary has the power. Any transactions that you're gonna do, you need to do it with the notary. You don't need to, but the problem there is you need to always have a translator with you.
Got it. And then this is, I guess, kind of a follow-up. Do you have any websites for real estate companies in the region that you would recommend?
I do. I actually have few like websites, but just this is the technique. This is what the real estate people are doing there. One person would sell, like, let's say I'm selling my property, I'm going to send it to all. Okay. When you send it to all, they will put different titles, different SEO, different stuff. And the way they sell it there, it's they don't get 5% or 3% commission. What they do, let's say I want to sell my house for 150, and each real estate agent would put 170, 180, 190, 200. What I suggest, you look for it, get someone trusted to negotiate for you directly with the owner or like with the agent who has the lowest bid. Okay, so it's not like how much commission, but like the way the agents earn is they add up on it. Okay, so that's the secret that the agencies would hate for you guys to know, but you're not much here anyway, so don't to spread too much the words.
Okay, couple more. And this, like, what are the top countries in the Balkans that, like, give me your top three. If you would say these are the places, if you're coming to the Balkans, these are the three countries that you must not miss, what would you say your top three?
Bosnia, Montenegro, Albania.
I would agree with that.
Bosnia is like really gorgeous, like most beautiful, but it's just like politically not stable. So it's not the best place for investment. And you don't want to be trapped there, like just in case shit happens, sorry for the word. But like Albania is like up and coming. It's gorgeous, really. But of course, like it matters if it matters with you, like like the religion thing and everything, like still Montenegro is amazing, but the political instability, it will never affect you anyway. They just like to have their little country fighting, but it's a gorgeous place to live, like small country, and just don't deal with politics, don't deal doing business, just live there, like enjoy the retirement. That's the best life to be in.
Love that. And then one more question. For Albania, any particular someone is going soon, what are your favorite parts of Albania?
The coast, of course. Like, of course, you need to check Tirana. Okay, Sandra. Like, I don't know. Like, so many beaches. Like, from Tirana, like the beaches going to Greece are the best. But of course, like there are like places like UNESCO heritage sites and everything. But my technique in Albania, like take your time. I think Americans can stay 1 year there. I think they changed their like Americans can stay 1 year there, visa free, like no extension. Just go there, like visa free. Like get a car, it's really cheap. Like I think Albania is going to be the next Portugal, like so soon it's gonna be that place. And yeah, like just enjoy the coastal like town. But like there's like they're really building the digital nomad community. I cannot just give you one recommendation to go because it's not a massive country. It's like smaller than one state. You will see it, but like the coastal, you should not miss, especially the water like part going to Greece.
Perfect. Okay, that is all of the questions. Kach, thank you so much. This was such a wonderful presentation, so much helpful information. I dropped the links. I will do it one more time so you can connect online. Is it okay if people like send you messages if they have other questions?
Yes, of course. Like I actually do like if you guys decide to, can I promote like stuff like I'm out of Montenegro now. Like I live there 4 years. My dog is still there. Still have the house there. And like if you guys decide that you want to go travel to Montenegro and like you as a TNN or everything, if you decide like to have like 10 people, 5 people, just connect with me. I'll be able to arrange it directly with my local partner to like like to organize like a tour based on what you wanted because I've organized it before and I was just like I love this country and I don't want to take more buses. So I was like, if you guys want to go, I'll give you the itinerary and you guys figure it out and stuff. But if you want like a fixed tour itinerary, feel free to email me. My email is there, but you can also find me on social media.
Okay, yes, I've got all the links. I don't have your email if you want to drop that in there. I just have the links to your website. So I have just a couple more things to share and then we are going to be all done. So give me 1 second. Can you see this? Yes. Okay, cool. So this is what we have coming up. We have another event later this week. We have a couple more in-person meetups, and then it is all about the group tours. So great things coming up. You want to go to the Balkans? This is not one of the places we talked about this on this particular presentation, but there are still spots on the Romania trip that's happening in June. That is a country that I have personally enjoyed very much, and I know that they have a wonderful itinerary planned. There's also spots on the Mexico trip. I believe that's in September, and same with Jordan. So if any of those are on your list, and to see the whole lineup of amazing trips that Matt and team have planned, nomadicnetwork.com/tours. And then thank you all so much for being here. Thank you, Kach, for giving us your time and your knowledge and your energy, and to this incredible community who always shows up and is so warm and welcoming. Thank you all so much for being here. And I want to respect your time. So we are going to call it. And I hope to see you somewhere around the internet very soon. Have a great day, everybody.